Think of your arteries like a garden hose. When they are clean and flexible, life flows perfectly. But what happens when that hose gets stiff and clogged with gunk? That is a heart attack waiting to happen. Let's step into your kitchen for a moment. It is 7 a.m. You are standing in your pajamas, staring at the pantry shelf. You reach past the eggs, you reach past the bacon, and you grab that cardboard cylinder with the smiling Quaker on the front. You measure out a cup of dry, dusty flakes, you add water, you put it in the microwave, and you watch it turn into that thick, gray, flavorless sludge. You don't eat this because you love it. Let's be honest, nobody actually craves plain oatmeal. You eat it because you are scared. You eat it because 5 years ago, your doctor looked at a piece of paper, frowned, and told you your cholesterol was creeping up. He told you that you were a ticking time bomb. He told you to cut the fat, cut the flavor, and start eating heart-healthy whole grains. So, like a good patient, you listened. You have been dutifully eating your bowl of mush every single morning for years. You have sacrificed the joy of a hearty breakfast because you believe you are buying yourself more time with your grandchildren. But here is the devastating reality that makes this the hardest video I have ever had to make. It hasn't worked. If you went to the doctor today and looked at your labs, I am willing to bet your numbers are barely different than they were 5 years ago, or maybe they are even worse. You are heavier around the midsection, you feel tired by 2 p.m., and you have this nagging fear that despite all your sacrifice, your arteries are still hardening. And you are right. The advice you were given, the advice stamped on that cardboard box with the red heart logo, is not just outdated, it is dangerous. You are about to learn why that healthy bowl of instant oatmeal is actually doing more damage to your cardiovascular system than the eggs and butter you've been avoiding. We need to talk about what actually happens when you put that spoon in your mouth. You see, when you buy instant or quick oats, you are buying a food that has been pulverized, steamed, and stripped of its natural defense. It is no longer a whole grain. It is pre-digested starch. The moment it hits your tongue, your saliva turns it into pure glucose, sugar. By the time it hits your stomach, it isn't acting like fiber. It is acting like a Snickers bar. Your blood sugar rockets sky high. And this is where the betrayal happens. To handle that massive sugar spike, your pancreas screams in panic. It floods your body with a hormone called insulin. Think of insulin like a harsh, abrasive scrubbing brush. When your insulin levels are constantly high because of your healthy, high-carb breakfast, that insulin starts to scour the delicate lining of your artery walls. It creates tiny, microscopic scratches and tears. Your arteries become inflamed. They become raw. And do you know what your body uses to patch those tears? Cholesterol. That plaque building up in your chest right now isn't there because you ate an egg. It is there because your body is frantically trying to patch the damage caused by the sugar spike from your oatmeal. You are eating the very thing that is causing the injury and then blaming the cholesterol that is trying to fix it. It is a biological tragedy. Hear the argument forming in your mind already. You are thinking, but you don't understand. I have the blood test results right here. My doctor circled the LDL number in red ink. He said my bad cholesterol is too high, and oatmeal lowers cholesterol. Are you telling me the lab test is lying? No, the test isn't lying, but it is telling you a half-truth that is arguably more dangerous than a lie. We need to talk about the biggest misconception in modern cardiology. The idea that all LDL cholesterol is the same. For 40 years, we have been taught that LDL is just gunk that clogs your pipes, like grease in a kitchen sink. But the human body is infinitely more complex than a kitchen sink. Imagine you are standing on the side of a highway, watching traffic go by. The total cholesterol number your doctor gives you is like counting the total number of vehicles on the road, but it doesn't tell you what those vehicles are. Are they massive, soft, fluffy parade floats? Or are they fast, dangerous, armored motorcycles weaving through the traffic? This is the difference between pattern A particles and pattern B particles. Pattern A particles are large, buoyant, and fluffy. Think of them like big, soft beach balls floating through your bloodstream. If a beach ball hits the side of a tunnel, what happens? Nothing. It bounces off. It is harmless. You can have high LDL, but if it is mostly these beach balls, your risk of a heart attack is actually very low. But then there is pattern B. These are small, dense LDL particles. Think of these like hard metal BB pellets, or better yet, bullets. Because they are so small and dense, they don't bounce off the artery wall, they penetrate it. They lodge themselves inside the cracks created by that insulin inflammation we just talked about. Once they're stuck in the wall, they oxidize, they turn rancid, and that is what builds the plaque. That is what closes the hole shown in the thumbnail of this video. So, here's the million-dollar question. What turns your cholesterol from harmless beach balls into deadly BB pellets? It isn't fat, and it certainly isn't eggs. It is triglycerides. And do you know what spikes triglycerides more than anything else? Starch. When you eat that bowl of oatmeal, your liver takes that massive surge of glucose and converts it into fat, specifically triglycerides. High triglycerides force your body to produce those small, dangerous, dense LDL particles. So, let's look at the tragedy of the standard advice again. You are eating oatmeal to lower your cholesterol, and maybe it does lower the total number slightly, but in the process, the high carbohydrate load is turning the remaining cholesterol into dangerous, artery-piercing bullets. You are lowering the total count, but you are increasing the lethality. You are trading a high number of safe particles for a slightly lower number of deadly ones. This is why you see people with normal cholesterol levels dropping dead of heart attacks every day. They had the wrong kind of cholesterol, fueled by the very heart-healthy grains they were told to eat. We need to stop worrying about the total number and start worrying about the quality of the particle. And to fix the quality, we have to change the fuel. So if we are throwing the cardboard box in the trash, what do we put on the table? I want you to close your eyes for a second and imagine the thumbnail of this video. Remember that vibrant, colorful plate on the right side? That isn't just a meal, that is a prescription. We are going to replace the sugar bomb with what I call the artery scrubbing protocol. Here's what your new morning looks like. Instead of a bowl of gray mush, you're sitting down to a plate of wild-caught salmon or high-quality pastured eggs, half a sliced avocado, and a side of sautéed spinach or beets. Now I can see some of you clutching your chest already. Salmon for breakfast? An avocado? Isn't that full of fat? Won't that clog my arteries faster? This is the hardest mental shift you have to make, but it is the one that will save your life. You have to stop viewing fat as the enemy and start viewing it as the cleaner. Let's break down this plate ingredient by ingredient so you understand the biological magic happening here. First, the salmon. This is not just protein. It is a delivery system of omega-3 fatty acids. If insulin is the scrubbing brush that damages your arteries, omega-3s are the soothing balm. They are anti-inflammatory by nature. When you eat them, they enter your bloodstream and actively reduce the inflammation in your vessel walls. They calm the fire. They make the blood less sticky, preventing those dangerous clots from forming in the first place. You aren't gumming up the works, you're lubricating the engine. Next, the avocado. This is the green gold of heart health. It is loaded with monounsaturated fat, the exact same healthy fat found in olive oil that makes the Mediterranean diet so famous. But it does something else. It provides a slow, steady burn of energy. Unlike the oatmeal that spikes your sugar and then crashes you by 10 a.m., the healthy fats in an avocado keep your blood sugar dead flat. No spike, no insulin panic, no artery damage. You stay full until lunch, and your pancreas gets to take the morning off. And finally, the secret weapon, the greens, spinach or beets. Why are these on a breakfast plate? Because they contain natural nitrates. When you chew them, your body converts these nitrates into a gas called nitric oxide. This is crucial. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. It signals the tiny muscles inside your arteries to relax and open up. Imagine a narrow, stiff garden hose suddenly expanding into a wide, flexible fire hose. Blood pressure drops, circulation improves, oxygen floods your brain. You are effectively giving yourself a natural biological bypass surgery every single morning. So look at the difference. The oatmeal breakfast creates inflammation, spikes insulin, and creates dangerous, dense cholesterol. The salmon and avocado breakfast calms inflammation, stabilizes insulin, and opens up your arteries. One is a poison disguised as health. The other is the cure disguised as an indulgence. Now, I want to give you a visual that will change how you see your own body forever. It explains exactly why eating fat does not make you fat, and why eating cholesterol does not clog your arteries. I want you to imagine two frying pans. The first pan is old, scratched, and rusted. The surface is rough and pitted. If you try to cook an egg in this pan, what happens? It sticks, it burns, it creates a mess that you have to scrape off. This is your artery on oatmeal. This is your artery on sugar. The constant insulin spikes and inflammation turn the smooth lining of your blood vessels into Velcro. The walls become sticky and rough, so when calcium and cholesterol float by, they get snagged, they get trapped in the mesh. Layer after layer builds up, catching debris, until, clunk, the pipe is closed. Now imagine the second pan. It is brand new, high-quality, non-stick Teflon. It is perfectly smooth. You crack an egg into it, and it slides right off. Nothing sticks. This is your artery on healthy fats. When you switch to the salmon and avocado breakfast, you are essentially recoating your arteries with Teflon. By removing the inflammatory sugar, the vessel walls have time to heal. They become smooth again. But the healthy fats do something even more incredible. They call in the cleanup crew. You've heard of good cholesterol, or HDL. Think of HDL as microscopic garbage trucks. Their only job is to cruise through your bloodstream, scrape the plaque off the walls, and carry it back to the liver to be disposed of. Here's the irony. A low-fat, high-oatmeal diet actually lowers your HDL. It sends the garbage trucks home. It leaves the trash in the streets. But when you eat the avocado, when you eat the salmon, when you eat the eggs, you are sending a chemical signal to your liver. Send out more trucks. You are increasing the very workforce that cleans your arteries. So the mechanism is simple. The greens dilate the artery, making the road wider. The omega-3s heal the wall, making the road smooth. And the healthy fats boost the HDL, sending in the trucks to clear the blockage. You aren't just preventing future damage, you are actively creating an environment where the existing plaque has no choice but to break down and leave. You are turning a sticky, dangerous trap into a smooth, flowing river. I am not asking you to sign a life contract today. I am not asking you to swear off oats forever right this second. I am asking for a 7-day experiment. For the next week, I want you to take that box of oatmeal, Put it on the top shelf where you can't reach it and commit to the artery-scrubbing breakfast. Buy some smoked salmon. Buy a carton of eggs. Buy 3 avocados, just for 7 days. Here is what is going to happen. Day 1 might feel strange. You will miss the sugar. You might even feel a little carb withdrawal. That is normal. That is the addiction leaving your body. But by day 3, something incredible happens. You will get to 1 p.m. and you will suddenly realize, I'm not hungry. The shakiness is gone. The brain fog that usually hits you after breakfast, gone. You will feel a steady, calm energy that you haven't felt in 20 years. That is the feeling of your body running on clean jet fuel instead of dirty coal. That is the feeling of your arteries relaxing. But we have only fixed half the equation. We have fixed the solid food entering your body. Now we have to talk about the liquid. There is a myth that is even more pervasive than the oatmeal lie. It is the advice that every senior hears. You need to drink 8 glasses of water a day. Stay hydrated. But for a body over 60, simply chugging plain water might actually be dangerous. In fact, it could be putting a massive strain on your heart and washing out the very minerals that keep your electric pulse steady. You might be drowning your cells, not hydrating them. And the solution involves the one ingredient your doctor told you to avoid at all costs: salt.